Are you familiar with Channel 5, the kid Andrew who goes out and does like the...
Nah.
He's got a dope YouTube channel. He's really, really popular. But we were talking about how like there's this weird intersection of like people who were Bernie Sanders supporters and then those people voting for Trump in 2024, which is like crazy if you think about like how there's like this like weird Venn diagram where there was enough of them to like agree on whatever intersected.
Well, you gotta say, if you want to study history, you gotta study the Southern strategy. And the Southern strategy was trying to figure out how to misalign and realign. How do, when a base becomes unaligned with their base, it gives you an opportunity for you aligned with yours, right? And so it's how the Republicans was figuring out how to steal the Democratic base. Democrats would go so far. What would all black men been complaining about these last years is the emasculation of the black men.
Yeah.
Who did we attribute that to? The Democratic Party. So anybody that speaks to those values and made them feel like you're aligning with mine now, right? But then the Southern strategy goes towards this fact of how do we say nigga without saying nigga, right? I forgot the guy, and the people go study the Southern strategy, look it up on YouTube, and you'll see him. And he was basically saying, well, we can't say the nigga word no more, so we need to figure out a way to affect black people and have code words without having to say it. So in one of the things he talked about tax cuts, he said, well, it's going to have the, if we doing tax cuts only for the rich and black people are the poorest, then it's going to affect them the most, right? They will put together all of these things, right? It's like the new way of saying DEI, right? Or all these things. How do we figure out to affect these niggas without having to say nigga? And basically, how do we stay white supremacists in power in this changing landscape? Because they understood that they couldn't do it direct no more. These are not my words. You can go study it and see this has been a strategy that they've been working on, employing for a long time. And my thing, Kev, is the fact that they laid out and said, we're going to have a first 100 days. The way to respond to that is, okay, well, these going to be our first 100 days. It's not to complain. It's not to protest. It's to respond. It's not to react. It's to respond. That's your first 100 days? Cool. First 100 days, we don't like corporations, because we feel like when they say F DEI, they saying F black people, whether that's true or not, because black men don't feel so connected to it, mostly because we don't know what we actually got from it.
Right.
Right. But whether that's true or not, we still get to utilize that moment to say, okay, well, we want to boycott y'all anyway, because it's better for us to boycott with each other. So we got the boycott, we don't buy from y'all, but the boycott we buy from ourselves. And we say, let's become prosumers. Let's produce what we consume. This is the greatest opportunity in black American history for there to be a mass movement of realigning, right, with the radical thought processes of our own economic rights, our own economic vehicles, where we create an economic network. We got digital nation states already. The problem, though, Kev, is the fact that we don't all agree. So I call out all black organizations, from the NAACP to the Black Caucus to the NABJ to all of these different, and I say, okay, why don't we sit down and have a round table? Trump don't stop us from doing that.
Right.
So you telling me we can organize a protest, but we can't sit down with each other and come up with an agenda? How come we got the Divine Nine, which was started from the Bootleg, secret organizations based on skull and bone activity? You got the Black Masons, you got the Muslims, you got all of them. So if I want to create change in America, I would go to all the leaders. Then I would get the people in every organization to ask, yeah, why isn't the black church sitting down with the black Muslims if we figure that this is our biggest incredible threat? If it is as bad as you saying, and this is the most radical shift that ever happened, then you're not willing to do nothing radical to respond, right? That lets me know that either you're sold out, you don't care. Only time you do care, right, is when you feel like you need to save face in front of the people. So you go be a Al Sharpton and go do a protest inside of Costco to boycott with them, which means absolutely nothing at all.
Right.
That generation is just over with and dead because young people don't respect that shit. So for me, it's calling out us. Right? The ex-Kenyan president came out and said, why y'all crying? He was talking to his people.
Oh, I saw the Kenyan president.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, let's build our own.
Let's build our own.
The U.S. don't owe us no money.
Like that, man.
Yeah.
When they put sanctions, when Trump originally put sanctions on China, where they can't buy chips, so-calledly, right? What they did is say, okay, well, we about to focus money towards how do we do it without y'all.
Right.
Then you get DeepSeek.
Right.
Right? An advanced model.
Fucked up NVIDIA stock.
What does that represent when I look at that? You feel me? Like, it gives you a blueprint, man. Listen, if you can't goddamn drink in they fountain, make your fountain better. You know what I'm saying? If you can't go to those schools, make your school better. You feel me? Prove we don't need them, they need us. Because what happens Americans, number one, are the biggest consumers of the world, but black Americans are the biggest consumers in America. If we shift our economic activity towards ourselves and creating our own vehicles, the problem is we're afraid to think long term. Yeah, it's gonna take some time, but so what? This is how you set up your children. Why would you want to have children in a world that you can't protect?
Right.
That you can't say, you know what, when they was tripping, we built our own thing and this is what we proud of. That's why I got my show coming up, Save Yourself. And think about it like this. Because it's a message to us. Save yourself, right? If you see a grown man drowning in the pool, right, and nobody's helping him, why you think that is? He's panicking, he's drowning, you know what I mean? He tripping. And everybody just looking at him like, bro, save yourself. Because the whole time, the water not even that goddamn deep. All he had to do was stand up for himself. And this is the analogy I see with us. We act like we drowning when we not. All we got to ever really do is stand up. But we act like our legs don't work. We don't want to get to moving. So I see it as a viable option. When I talk about blockchain technology, I'm not saying it from a capitalist stand view. I don't care if we don't own it. If they can create meme coins that circulate hundreds of millions of dollars
amongst themselves,
then how come we can't do that?
Right.
Then we raise funds fast, buy major assets that we now own, right, and do for self. How can we create our own? First of all, you study Estonia. Estonia is one of the most digital nations in the world because they see where the world is going. They prepared for it. They responded. Now you can create a business in like 10 minutes. You can become a citizen of Estonia and then contribute to their GDP, right, digitally. If you take that as a stance and all these groups create their own digital nations and then they're buying physical assets, then they got their own currencies attached. Because we live in a time of blockchain. Why are we not doing that? Because we're not focused.
And most people still don't even understand blockchain.
We don't need everybody.
Right.
We only need the leaders to understand it.
Yeah.
I think the idea of trying to get people to unify, we look at it as if we need 45 million black people to come together. You don't need that. You go take, again, these organizations, you take the top black organizations, bring the presidents and CEOs together and have a round table. If they don't want to come to the round tables because they sold out and they owe another community more than they owe their own. So it's about allegiance. I don't need unity. I don't even want everybody's unity because some people ain't worth shit right now. And I know they. And also,
there's real commerce and a real economy to the division and the fear that gets
100%. They don't get paid to make solutions. It's like the homeless problem in California. They get home. Everybody's get money eating to continue to perpetuate.
Oh my God. Yeah, there's so many people's salaries that are just...
Our efficiency should be consistently increasing year over year, and we should be getting better. That represents our growth.
You know what I thought was just like a surface level, kind of shallow perspective of like, or the depiction of like, hey man, when Jimmy Carter's funeral happened, and Barack and Trump were just laughing their ass off, I'm like, yo, like, if this dude is like truly like the end of democracy and truly like as evil and bad and, you know, this fear porn that's been being pushed, you shouldn't be laughing with him. That's why I fuck with Michelle, because Michelle was like, I'm not going.
I mean, I seen Michelle feeding George Bush mints or something one time as well, though. And I remember when George Bush, the Katrina president, you feel me?
The Katrina president,
we act like he wasn't. You feel me?
How many people in the Middle East were just murdered?
He went out there and just murdered and bombed them. And this is what, when you look at that picture, number one, Obama come out and scolding black men, and then months later at the Donald Trump win, laughing with him, and then not clearing it up at all.
At all.
You feel me? It's disrespectful, but what it really is a clear picture of America. I think it's what America we want it to be.
That's what I'm saying. It's the most surface level, like, guys, left wing, right wing, same bird, bruh. Like, 100%. It is what it is.
You don't think behind the scenes they not civil? Yes. Funerals give the elites the greatest opportunity to meet and have conversations, right? Because it's on the book. Everybody knows it's happening. Right. So they get to pass messages. Otherwise, it's very hard. They got to go through back channels and back channels.
Right.
So it's very interesting. But again, it's a beautiful time to save yourself. Right? And what does save yourself look like? It means like educating yourself, having real strategies, right? Being able to come together and sit down and talk about what we about to do the next 100 days and executing that plan, right? You don't have to do everything in front of the public. Have it private.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like there should be coordination and organizing, whether, I don't care whose side you fall on. Everybody should agree with the message of save yourself, because that's how this administration is moving. We gonna tell you what we doing. Now it's up to you to respond. This how we gonna move the economy, right? This is what we gonna get rid of. This is what we don't like. And they're like, all right, y'all got y'all playbook. This how we respond. Now what?